Hey there. There's been a lot of leaks of GTA 6 lately. Seems like somebody got their hands on a build somehow, and nobody really knows. But I wanted to talk about it because I like talking about video games. And GTA 6 is a game that, I'm not alone in being kind of excited about. Probably one of the most heavily anticipated, things of all time, potentially. And let's just talk about it a bit. The first and most important thing I want to point out, also, I don't know if what I'm going to talk about here is actually entirely legal, but I think my channel is small enough that it's fine. I don't need to worry about it too much. Obviously, I'm not going to share any footage of the actual leaks, but I'm going to talk about what's in them. So, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know. But I'm not too worried about it. Anyway, the biggest takeaway I've gotten from the leaks so far is that the game clearly is much more in line with Red Dead Redemption 2 than it is with GTA 5. And for me personally, obviously everybody's going to have their own opinion about that sort of thing. But for me, I'm actually very much in favor of that. That was kind of one of the most pressing questions I had regarding the gameplay of GTA 5 or GTA 6 rather. Was just I didn't know which way they were going to take it. Obviously, Red Dead Redemption 2 was Rockstar's latest game before this, right? So that might lead you to believe that that was the direction that they were going to take it in. But you can't deny the fact that GTA 5 was their most commercially successful endeavor of all time. I mean, GTA 5 and GTA Online, which was an extension of GTA 5, made them ridiculous amounts of money. So I could understand if, they wanted to take the game more in that direction, just to continue to appeal to the audience that is clearly there for that type of game, right? I feel like a lot of companies these days are very risk averse, right? They will do whatever they can to minimize risk. And it would make sense to me if Rockstar had decided that it was just a better choice to just make it basically GTA 5 but with better graphics, right? But it's pretty clear that they are not going in that direction at all, which, like I said, I'm very much in agreement with, because I think hold on. I think that Red Dead Redemption 2 is a million times better than GTA 5, just in terms of the sheer gameplay, the raw game mechanics and everything. Red Dead Redemption 2 is just way better. So I'm really glad to see that they're going in that direction. I guess I should explain what I mean by that, what I mean by them going in that direction. One of the big things with GTA 5 and with, I guess, the GTA series as a whole up until now, I guess, is the idea that you can carry an unlimited number of weapons. Now, to be fair, I've never actually played any other GTA game other than GTA 5. I never played GTA 4 or any of the earlier ones. I have played San Andreas. I've played very, very small amounts of that one. I got a pirated version off Pirate Bay for my laptop when I was in high school, probably gave me 13 viruses or something. But yeah, for the most part, the only real GTA game that I've played is GTA 5. But I'm pretty confident in saying that it's a staple of the franchise up until this point that your character could carry an infinite number of weapons, basically. I mean, obviously there aren't an infinite number of weapons in the game, but you could carry all of the weapons that were in the game simultaneously. With Red Dead Redemption 2, they really changed that. I also didn't play Red Dead Redemption 1, so I don't know how it worked in that game. But in Red Dead Redemption 2, you have a much more realistic sense of what your character can carry. You're not carrying 30 weapons simultaneously. You can carry 2 pistols with your 2 holsters and then 2 weapons over your shoulder. And it seems like they're going with basically an identical system for that with GTA 6. Now, we don't know exactly how it's going to operate because just the leaks haven't really shown that, but it's very clear that the amount of equipment you can carry is very limited compared to something like GTA 5, where, again, you can carry literally whatever you want. It's definitely not going to be like that. We don't really know how ammo is going to work. That's something that's also not really shown in the leaks of GTA 6 so far. With GTA 5, you can carry like 10,000 rounds for each of those 50 guns that you're carrying. So you're carrying like 5 million rounds of ammunition, you know. You get to a point in that game where it's just like ammo and weapons are just not a thing that you need to consider at all. And that's why I'm not a fan of that system. I think it's just very mindless, and it just completely eliminates any kind of interesting gameplay moment that could happen when you have a more restricted system that you did with Red Dead Redemption 2. But in Red Dead Redemption 2, you also had a much more limited amount of ammo. It's still way more than anyone would realistically be able to carry on their person, because you can have like 300 rounds for like each gun in that game. So we don't know yet, but I would be interested to see what they're going to do with ammo, assuming that it's going more in a Red Dead Redemption 2 direction. I'm assuming that the ammo is probably also going to be a bit more limited. I can't imagine we're going to be carrying 10,000 rounds of ammo for every weapon that we have. So again, I like that. I think that's cool. The one thing that I am a little curious about is how the game is going to handle carrying larger weapons. Now, it's been a staple of the GTA series that when you're carrying like an M16 or something, you know, your character just pulls it out of their asshole, right? Like it's if it's not equipped, it doesn't exist, right? It's not visibly on your person. Red Dead Redemption 2 changed that. If you had like a long gun, like a rifle or something, your character had it slung over his shoulder, right? And if it wasn't over your shoulder, then you just didn't have it, right? It was on your horse, and you needed to be near your horse to get it, right? It seems like that's kind of what they're doing with GTA 6, where the vehicle that you drive is going to have like inventory, similar to the horses in Red Dead Redemption. But the thing I'm really curious about is how they're going to portray carrying those long weapons, like rifles and shotguns and that sort of thing. Because while I think it works totally fine for Red Dead Redemption because of the setting of it being, you know, the Wild West, it was much more common to just walk around with a big rifle slung over your shoulder in that day and age. And it just feels thematically appropriate. For a modern day Miami setting, it would not really make much sense at all for the character to have like an M16 slung over their shoulder, you know? So I am very curious to see how they're going to handle that. If it's like you can have those weapons on you, but they're not visibly on you, and then your character just pulls them out of thin air. I would be inclined to say that that's not how they're going to handle it. Just because, like I said, it seems like everything's kind of pushing more towards a Red Dead Redemption 2 style, which would mean that if you have like an M16 in your inventory, your guy is going to have it like slung over his shoulder. And I think that's going to be kind of weird to have just like a guy walking around Miami, Florida with an M16 over his shoulder. I know Florida is an open carry state. In fact, I think I just heard something that some law was passed very recently about open carry in Florida. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't been keeping up to date with that sort of stuff, but regardless, I guess it technically wouldn't be illegal. Like that is something you could legitimately do. Although I think in like most cities, I don't think you're just allowed to walk around with weapons. You know, that's a statewide law. Like open carry is a statewide law, but usually like urban cities and stuff like that have rules against firearms and that sort of thing. I know at the very least, you're not allowed to like fire weapons within the city limits, that sort of thing. So again, I guess technically speaking, it wouldn't be unrealistic to depict the main character as just walking around with an M16 or whatever. But I think thematically that would be a bit more jarring, a bit less sensical. And if that is the direction they're going to go, I'd be interested to see if they're also going to have that influence the way like NPCs react to you. Because if like I saw someone just walking down the street with an AR-15 or something, you know, I probably would I would question that. I would act a little differently around that person. I would probably try to vacate the area just because you never know, right? Regardless of whether or not, open carry is a law where you live, the fact of the matter is that it is very taboo and very rare for a person to walk around brandishing a rifle, right? It just doesn't happen. Concealed carry is its own thing because nobody cares because you can't see it, out of sight, out of mind, that sort of thing. So it makes sense for the main character to have like a concealed pistol on them, right? And it also just makes more sense for them to be able to conceal a weapon that is that small. But yeah, I am curious to see what direction they're going to take the rifles in, because I think that there's a lot of weirdness that could happen there. Just thematically speaking, I'm just curious to see how they're going to handle that, because I think it's kind of almost a lose-lose in a way. I'm going to be honest. And I say this as someone who, again, is happy that they seem to be taking things in a more Red Dead Redemption direction. I like the limitations. I like the more like realistic approach. But I do think that it creates potentially more downsides than upsides. Because here's the thing. Either you give the player the ability to just materialize weapons out of thin air. So like any weapon within your inventory, even if that inventory is limited, is still fully concealed, right? So like you have an AR-15 on you at all times. It's just not visibly on your person. But then that just counteracts like the realistic direction of the game in the first place, which I think is a bit of a shame, kind of a weird like it's a weird mixed way to do things. But then the alternative of just allowing the player to constantly have an M16 like visibly brandished on their character, but then to not have the NPCs react to that would feel strange, I think. Because again, I think most people would react differently to seeing a person in public carrying a weapon than they would just any other random Joe, right? So it's like if they're going to take it in that direction, I feel like they have to also implement like a system that makes NPCs react differently to you depending on the equipment that you have on your person. But then that almost puts you in a position where it's like, I don't really want to use those weapons because I don't want people to constantly be scared of me or be more prone to like calling the cops on me or whatever, And maybe that's just the direction they're going to take it because that's the way they've decided to like balance out the larger guns. Maybe those guns are going to be like really powerful like they would be in real life. And then the downside of using them is that it does draw more attention to you. I mean, I could see that. And that's obviously something they could do. But I would be very curious to see what direction they end up taking it. Because again, I think they're walking a very fine line of game design, I would say, where it's like kind of any choice you make on this matter kind of ends up risking making the game just less fun, I would say. So I am interested to see what direction they're going with that. In terms of like the general interactivity of the world, that also seems to be a massive step up. Not even just from GTA. From GTA 5, I mean, it's like night and day. Because GTA 5 really was not a very interactive game world, if we're being completely honest. In fact, GTA 5 was kind of a step down from GTA 4, as I understand it. Again, I didn't play GTA 4, but I've seen gameplay footage where you could like pick up bricks and other things in that game. That wasn't really a feature in GTA 5. In GTA 5, you really can't interact with much of anything within the world other than like vehicles and weapons and stuff. But with GTA 6, they are really pushing the interactivity. One of the leaks shows him playing basketball, and it's not like some mini game, right? Where you like load into this completely separate like game environment where now you're playing basketball and all of the controls are tuned around basketball, right? To make like that game mode work. It doesn't work like that. You just pick up the basketball and your guy just dribbles it and you can shoot it like a basketball. It's like, that's awesome. That's really cool. I love that it's all completely dynamic. It's all just completely seamless in real time. There's no like game mode or whatever. Like I said, it's just completely natural. You just pick up the basketball like you would in real life and you just use it, right? So I really like that. Again, I made a video quite a while ago at this point because the game's been delayed so many times. I made a video talking about my wish list for GTA 6, and one of the main things I want out of GTA 6 is for them to focus more on like dynamic gameplay. I want the game to feel very dynamic. I want there to be a lot of things to do, and I want the game to like respond to the player's choices much more. GTA 5 doesn't really have that. Red Dead Redemption 2 barely has it. Honestly, even Red Dead Redemption 2 doesn't do it that much. Certainly not enough to like my liking, if I'm being completely honest. And if I'm being completely honest, my hopes are not insanely high that they will incorporate a lot of like dynamic gameplay. But at the very least, the level of like interactivity with the world seems to be on another level compared to the games that they've made before. So that is good to see. At the very least, I guess that you'll have that going for it, right? But yeah, they've also carried over the whole like NPC interaction system from Red Dead Redemption 2, where you could greet or antagonize people, which is good to see because, again, GTA 5 didn't have that at all. The NPCs are basically just robots in that game. It'll also be interesting to see, and this is something that you probably don't really think about all that much, but once you realize it, you kind of can't like not realize it. But in GTA 5, all of the NPCs are like perfect, you know? They never get in car crashes, they never break the law, they never like antagonize each other. They'll only antagonize the player if you antagonize them first. And it's one of those things that like once you realize, again, like you probably don't think about it that much, but once you realize it, it's like, that is really weird. Like they don't feel natural. So it'll be interesting to see if they've done anything in that regard. Again, that's not something we've really seen with the leaks too much. I guess in one way with the leaks, we have seen there was one leak where he crashes into a car, like a big delivery truck, and then the delivery truck driver like road rages and like comes after him. We have seen in like GTA 5 there was a system where like if you stole someone's car, they would sometimes get angry at you and then like chase you and try to get the car back. But this feels much more dynamic, much more just like a natural moment of like human emotion from the NPCs, where like he just hit the car and then all of a sudden the other guy gets mad at him and like starts coming after him, trying to like run him off the road and stuff like that, which is cool to see. But it'll be interesting to see if they have done anything else in making the NPCs feel more like real people, where they can like get into their own car accidents, or maybe you can come across like serial killers or, you know, whatever, right? Like that's just something that doesn't exist in the other GTA games as far as I know. And it leads to those NPCs feeling very robotic, very unnatural, because it's like, I'm the only real person in this world, right? And obviously that's true. You are the only player when you're playing single player. But I think that, you know, any system that can flesh that out, make that feel more natural is a good thing. So I'll be interested to see if they do anything like that. Yeah. Overall, I would say I am pretty excited for GTA 6. I would say the leaks have made me more excited than I previously was. Because again, I had a lot of questions regarding what direction they would end up taking GTA 6 in. I was a little worried that they would make it more like GTA 5 because that's the safer route. GTA 5 is already a proven formula. And GTA 5 is just really not that good of a game, if we're being completely honest. I mean, it's fun to just drive around in it for like 15 minutes at a time, I guess. But to like sit down and play it, like the dynamic gameplay, the interactivity of the game and that sort of thing is just not there. It's very lacking. I feel like GTA 5 is not a game that you can really sink your teeth into. And I'm hoping that GTA 6 remedies that, and it seems like maybe they're trying to push it in that direction, which is nice to see. So yeah, I am looking forward to it. But let me know what you think about the GTA 6 leaks if you've seen them. I guess I probably should have prefaced this by saying, spoiler alert. Although they're going to do like a big gameplay unveiling in like a week anyway, so it's not that important, I guess. But anyway, yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll catch you later.